Most people believe if they just get the money, the relationship, or the success, then they'll finally be happy. But if that were true, billionaires would be the happiest people on the planet, and they're not. Today, I'm going to help you stop building a life that only looks good on paper and start creating one that actually lights you up. Welcome back to the Botox bank accounts and boyfriends and why they don't create fulfillment series. This is video 4, and I am Angie, your inner glow coach. And I help women who are ready to stop playing at 80% and glow up into their next level where their lives actually feel happy and exciting. And stay until the end because, like all of my videos, I have an action item at the end. And all of the other videos in the series have had 2 to 3. I actually have 3 ideas for this one. I'm actually gonna try to keep it at 1 or 2, so we'll see how I'm feeling at the end. But this is video 4, and it ties in the entire theme of this series. Botox bank accounts and boyfriends, they don't create fulfillment because they're based on external validation and things outside of you. Happiness comes from you because happiness is a choice. And trust me, I know how this sounds when you don't believe it because I used to hear that. I would roll my eyes and I thought it was total bullshit. But I learned that it's the truth because you decide when you're happy. A lot of these times we get these stories in our heads about, well, when I get the money, then I'll be happy. When I get the job, then I'll be happy. When I get married, then I'll be happy. But the thing is, you're the one that you're deciding that you'll be happy when the thing happens. So if you're deciding that you're gonna be happy when the thing happens, why don't you decide to be happy now? Because when your happiness is based on something external, then it's fleeting. So even in the situation where you get the money, then you'll be happy. Yeah, sure, you'll probably get that initial dopamine hit of the money, and then it's gonna fade away, and then you're gonna want more money, and then it's never going to satisfy you. And this is so important because every single interview I have seen with a millionaire or even billionaires, they are still working, they're working on their businesses, and they're always chasing more money. And this is because the happiness from the money wears off, and that's why they want more. But when your happiness comes from inside of you, then you are unshakable because nobody can take that away, and you are the source. And I get it. There are shitty people in this world that will do things, or there's circumstances that are shitty that will happen to you that may take you out of that happiness for a second. But when you're happy with yourself, it doesn't affect you long term. And it's okay to have your feelings about those things. I will never promote toxic positivity. So if something bad happens to you, like, you can still have that low grade happiness and fulfillment about certain other things in your life. Or even at some point, even when something bad happens, we get to that point where we can even have gratitude for that thing because it made us stronger and better, and we learned and we grew from it. But my point is, it's okay to have feelings. And I've talked about this in so many other videos. We tend to label anger or sadness or anxiety or these feelings that don't necessarily feel good as bad. So then we rush to get rid of them because we don't want to feel them. But it's the resistance to those feelings that creates the negative feeling in your body about them. So one thing I want to be clear on, if you're not feeling happy all of the time, that's okay. It especially, like, it took me a very long time, and I'm talking years of like true deep inner work to get to a place where I was happy and fulfilled most of the time. And that doesn't mean I never experience challenges. It doesn't mean that I don't feel angry, sad, or anxious. It means that because I'm coming from this internal place of happiness and fulfillment, I respond to life completely different than I used to. And also a concept that I really would love you to understand is you can feel two things at the same time. And I know this is hard to grasp if you have never felt it, and this is actually what one of our action items is going to be about. But you can feel happy and sad at the same time. So say you experience a loss and you feel sad about it, which again, that's okay. You're a human being and it's totally normal to feel sad about a loss. But say you got laid off from your job and you're driving home from the news and you're feeling really sad about it, but maybe on the drive home you see a rainbow or you see a really beautiful bird that you've never seen or whatever. Like, it's okay to feel happy about that moment, but also feel sad about what's going on in your life. You can feel two things at once. And I know it sounds weird because I never experienced it I never understood it until I experienced it. So if you haven't experienced this yet, that's okay. And it's also okay if you don't understand it, but I just want this to be in your awareness somehow so that you're open to the idea of it happening. And again, I used to be in a state of not being unhappy and unfulfilled. I actually lived my life in a chronic state of anxiety. That was my baseline. And despite the fact I was checking off all of the boxes of society's arbitrary rules, because I got the college degree, I had the stable job, I was working in corporate America, check, 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 check. But I was operating from an internal belief that I didn't deserve to be loved. So achieving all of those things was coming from a place of proving my worth, and I was miserable. And it was because my self-worth was so low that I truly didn't even believe that happiness and fulfillment was something that was even available to me, or even that I deserved it. But now I live in this place of happiness and fulfillment all of the time. And again, that doesn't mean that I don't have challenges. It doesn't mean that I don't feel seemingly negative feelings. It means I respond to life completely differently because I'm operating from this self-loving place and creating my own happiness and fulfillment. So my point is, if you don't believe any of this now, that's okay. All I want you to know is that it's possible for you, because trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And when joy is your baseline, the more creative you are and the more you're tapped into your inner glow. And the L in my glow method, it actually stands for light yourself up, because you deserve to feel good, not just look good on paper and do all the things that you're supposed to be doing. You deserve a life that lights you up inside, because we were all born with that light inside of us. Because if you see kids, first of all, they are so creative. Like, you can just tell by like the pictures they draw in school, by the things they say. And like, even if you watch them playing, the way they're like interacting with each other is so creative because they're so self-expressed. And if you see them playing, they're like running around and screaming, and like, they do not give AF what anyone thinks. And then you have society systems and family systems and school systems that tell us what we should or should not be doing. So as we go through life, we start conforming to all of these things outside of ourselves. And again, when you're conforming to something outside of yourself, or expecting that thing outside of yourself to make you happy, then it's fleeting, and it's based on controlling that external situation. And all of this is just an exhausting and unhappy and unfulfilling way to live. And I know this because I lived this for many decades. And anyone who's watching this, if you have lived your life that way, you already know it's exhausting and unfulfilling. But when you create a life, intentionally create a life that makes you happy, You have this internal compass that's always following the joy and the things that light you up. So instead of chasing that thing, you're effortlessly attracting them. And this is another reason why I love the phrase inner glow so much to describe basking in your self-love, because there are a lot of insects and animals and stuff that are drawn to the sun. With the exception of nocturnal animals, a lot of animals, that's their cue to like wake up and be alive and do their thing. But another analogy that I love is like those bug lights that attract, this maybe not a good example because the bugs end up dying, but it attracts the bugs to the light because they're drawn to the light. And that's the same kind of effect of glowing and shining from the inside, because you effortlessly start attracting the things that you actually want. And I'm talking money, love, opportunities. And you may be thinking, well, I don't know anyone who's out there effortlessly attracting those things. And it's because most of the things that truly bring us joy and happiness are going against society rules, family rules, school, I sound like Marsha Brady, school system rules. So we fear being ostracized. So the reason is because most people are conforming to society's rules. So even though they may have the house and the car and the money and seem happy, that is the Instagram versus reality effect. You don't know unless you talk to someone if they're truly happy and fulfilled inside. The only exception to that is when you see people who are truly glowing and basking in their own love and happiness, because those people, you can truly see it. And on this note, and I hate that I actually have to even say this, because when you are shining to the point where people feel it, like you don't even have to explicitly tell them, I'm happy, I love my life, but when you're in the state of shining your light and your inner glow is just radiating out, you can feel it, other people can feel it. I would love to say like that is the best feeling in life and everyone's gonna love you. It is the best feeling in life. But the downside is not everybody is going to love it. And that is the unfortunate side to all of this, because for most of my life, again, I was chronically anxious. I was unhappy. And for me, I usually turned my misery inward. So I would over-exercise, starve myself, etc. So for the most part, I wasn't taking it out on other people. So I didn't even understand this concept until about 6 years ago when I rekindled my inner glow. But when you are truly happy, in who you are and your life and everything, you are going to trigger people, because there are people in this world who are so miserable in their own lives that they cannot stand it when other people are happy. And I could go into examples of how this has happened to me or the psychology of what this is all about, but it's not about other people. This is about you not being available for anybody. I don't care if it's family, friends, coworkers, whoever. Do not ever let anybody steal your shine just because they can't handle it. That's not your problem. That is theirs. And this is hard to explain, but the best way to know if someone's jealous of your happiness, because it can be very subtle. It wasn't obvious to me at first, but it generally shows up with the subtle digs, or they don't celebrate your wins, or they're always trying to bring you down. And I can give you actually a few examples of this. One was in 2018, I moved from Chicago to Hawaii, and everybody thought I was crazy. And I could not tell you how many people were like, well, what if you lose your job? It's going to be hard for you to work remotely. A lot of the negativity was around my job, because this was in 2018, before remote working was the trendy thing to do. And And here's the thing, I also had those concerns, but my desire to make my life happier and be happy was more important than worrying about some possible future scenario. And I was like so happy about this decision, but a lot of people didn't give a shit. All they cared about was conforming to the arbitrary rules of society and checking off all of the boxes of what looked good on paper. And the same thing happened to me when I bought my car, because ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to live in Hawaii and have a red convertible. And so people rained on my parade when I finally moved to Hawaii. And in 2016, I bought a bright red Volkswagen EOS. And when I told people I was buying a red convertible, I cannot tell you how many people rained on my parade. Oh, the insurance costs too much for convertibles. Red cars get more tickets. I had several people be like, well, why do you even need a new car? And mind you, the car I had was 13 years old. So it wasn't like I was being extravagant. Also, that was another thing. I can afford it. So I didn't understand what people were raining on my parade about. And the funny thing about this was, I think my insurance went up like $2 a month, like maybe not even that. And in the 10 years that I've owned my car, knock on wood, I've only had one ticket, and it was a parking ticket. It wasn't even a moving violation. And here's the thing, I love that car so much, and driving with the top down brings me so much joy. But nobody gave a shit about that. And that's okay, because I do, and I live my life for me. And a huge part of my coaching program is creating your own rules for life, because that's how you feel truly happy and fulfilled. What makes you happy? Are you happy with who you are? Are you being the best version of yourself that you can be at any given time? Because when you're focused on your joy and fulfillment, you stop caring about what other people think of you. And you especially stop caring about people who are constantly trying to bring you down when you're basking in your own happiness. So, to wrap it up, Botox bank accounts and boyfriends don't create fulfillment because they are based on external validation and things outside of you. Happiness comes from inside of you. And the last thing I want to say on this, because I did mention earlier about how billionaires, they always, even though they have so much, they always seem to be like chasing and grinding for more. And I love Indonesia, and I've been there 3 times, and one of the reasons I love Indonesia, and I'm not just talking Bali, I know that's like everyone's favorite place to go. I've only been in Bali a little bit. I've been to Bali, Lombok, Sumbawa twice, Sumba, Labuan Bajo, Komodo Island. I think that's it. But anyway, this is what I love about Indonesia. Indonesia is a third world country. These people have nothing. I went on a tour one time in Sumbawa, and the guide, he took me to his home. And I'll tell you the reason in a minute, but I want to explain the setup. They lived in a shack that was probably the size of my living room behind me. I know you don't have the full view, but I don't even know what the dimensions of this would be. But let's just call this the size of a 1-bedroom. And by 1 bedroom, I mean not a 1-bedroom apartment that you would find in the US that has a kitchen, bathroom, etc. 1 bedroom, just a wood shack that has enough room for maybe a mattress and a few other things. But that's the thing. This was their home, no mattress, no furniture, no nothing. It was a bare wood floor. That is where they slept. And by they, I mean, his name was Upik. It was Upik, his parents, who were older. Upik had a wife and a kid, and a wife who was pregnant. Let's just count her baby, because eventually the baby came along. One of his siblings, their spouse, they had a few kids. His other brother who doesn't have kids. So that's 11. There's at least 11 people living in this box. That's where they sleep. No kitchen, because the way Indonesia works, it's very community based. So there's usually someone in the community who cooks all the food. So that I don't think that was part of any of their responsibilities, because there's no kitchen, no bathroom. They do it outside. There was a makeshift shower, which was basically a PVC pipe coming out of the ground. That's where they showered. That's where they brushed their teeth. Any water that they needed came out of this PVC pipe. Anyway, he brought me to his house because his mom taught me how to, I don't even know, weave this thing. But my point is that those were their living conditions. They had absolutely nothing. These people were so happy. Like, his mom didn't even speak English. I kept messing up the design on the weave. She was like laughing. She was having so much fun. Like, she did not give a shit. And it was like, just even thinking about this makes me want to cry, because out of all the amazing things that I've done in Indonesia, like, I've been surfing, I've been to Komodo Island to see the Komodo dragons. That memory of Indonesia is so beautiful and touching, because these people were so genuinely happy and they had nothing. So that is proof you don't need anything outside of you to be happy and fulfilled. It is in you, and if you don't feel it yet, it's okay, because it's a process and you will get there. So I'm going to help you by giving you a few action steps. And I'm like so emotional right now that I'm just gonna give you all 3 of my ideas. The first action step is, and I do this myself and I teach this to all my clients or anyone I can talk to, do at least one thing a day that brings you joy. So for example, I'm very fortunate, although I intentionally created this life, but I live in Hawaii, so I surf every day. And that's my one thing that brings me joy. That being said, it's a time commitment. So if I don't have time to surf, I love to dance. So most songs are only like 3 minutes long. So my point is, this doesn't have to be a huge ordeal that's time consuming. And I actually, when you're starting out, I recommend that it's not, because if something is a chore or feels like you have to carve out time or whatever, you're not gonna do it. So make it something easy that lights you up inside, even if it's dancing for 3 minutes, even if it's watching something funny on YouTube for a few minutes. Because this is so important, because it conditions you. You deserve to feel good, and it connects you to that inner happiness and inner light that you already have. It's always there. And once you tap into it, it's available whenever you want it, which eventually will be all of the time. So this is one of the best habits that you can develop for actually connecting to that inner joy and living in it all of the time. Action item number 2. So again, a lot of times we're just like blindly going through life, living by society's arbitrary rules. A huge part of my coaching program is creating rules for life that are true to you. And there's a whole process that I use in my coaching program, so we have to bypass this here because it's too long. But all I want you to do is create one rule for your life that you abide to as if it were the law. So for instance, it could be, I am loyal to me, I am authentic, I am unavailable for energy takers. And again, if you don't have good boundaries or something seems too big or scary to adhere to, start small. So a good place to start would be, there are a lot of opportunities in your day for people to drain your time and steal your time, or even there's opportunities for yourself to self-sabotage and waste time. So a really good rule for life is like, I don't waste time for things that aren't important to me. A way I have framed this in my own life is like, does something lead me toward my heart desires or no? And that doesn't mean everything's gonna be fun and I feel happy doing it, but if something's work related, like for instance, I don't like posting on Instagram. Directly posting on Instagram does not feel my heart's desires, but just the thought of sharing my work with the world and touching people does. So you really have to connect with what's important to you and how you spend your time throughout your day. So those are just examples, but in general, this action item is creating one rule for your life that you live by, whether it goes against the grain of society or not. And then action item number 3 is to learn how to feel happy when you're feeling a seemingly opposite emotion. And again, the purpose of this is it's not toxic positivity. It's not about canceling out the other feeling or numbing out the other feeling. It's about, hey, I'm feeling really anxious right now. And I also can recognize that it's possible to feel happy about something else. Or even, and that's at like an advanced level, feeling happy about the same situation. And this one is hard, I'm not gonna lie, but again, just to have that awareness that it's possible is an amazing first step. So number 1, do at least one thing a day that brings you joy. Number 2, create one new rule for your life that goes against society's arbitrary bullshit. And number 3, be aware that you can feel happy and almost any other feeling at the same time. And if you've watched this whole video and you're done understanding your patterns and ready to actually embody something different, this is the work that I do inside my signature glow sessions. It's a one-on-one safe space where we identify the root of your identity patterns that are running your entire life, and then we can map your next step forward. So this is more, because as you've seen in all my videos, I have action steps at the end, but this is more of a personalized game plan to really attack your limiting beliefs. And if you're ready to attract more money and love and be beautiful and happy without Botox, bank accounts, and boyfriends, then book a signature glow session and we'll go through G of the glow method, which is go back to your childhood. So we'll identify the root of what's keeping you ruminating and actually mapping out your identity shift forward. And whether you work with me going forward or not, this is such valuable information because we can all have this access to this inner glow and be happy and fulfilled all of the time. So if you are not there, you are worthy and it is available. So I will see you on the next series, which I haven't figured that out yet, but I will see you there.